Congressman, I wanted to ask two questions, which are kind of softballs, but before that I would like to make a small statement of commendation. A few months ago, many of us found out through the Washington Post and the Guardian newspaper that the NSA was engaged in a very large program of surveillance of Americans, including tracking who we were calling and where we were when we were calling them, taking note of who we were emailing and who was emailing us. And Justin Amash, I brought an amendment to the floor to block funding of those activities, which I personally believe are both illegal, as interpreted by Jim Sensenbrenner, the original author of the Patriot Act, who says that Section 215, under which the NSA purports to claim the authority to do this, never allowed it. And I wanted to commend you for your vote to defund the NSA's program. And I had two questions. The vote failed by a very slim margin. So I searched through all of the public statements from your office, but was unable to find anything about it. So I wanted to ask the following two questions. The first question is, could you in your own words describe your position on these programs? And second, could you describe what you intend to do about them?
Well, this, I think, is a broad discussion that the American people have to be engaged in, because people are being tracked on a regular basis. How many people have a credit card? You use it?
Yep.
You're being tracked. You're being tracked, you're being marketed. What's happening is it's being sold. So we live in a day and age in a society where we willingly, even though someone say, well, I never read that in the small print, it's in there, where we willingly, because of convenience and technology, how many people have a cell phone with them? You're being tracked. That's how many people have GPS in their automobile? You're being tracked. And under what happened after September the 11th, and I voted against the Patriot Act as well. I voted against the Patriot Act not because I don't believe that we need to have security and surveillance, but I think we have to take the extra step to go to the FISA courts. Now this means that you have to provide proof that you can't just spy or intrude on the American public. And that some would argue, well, the FISA court doesn't really turn down anything. Well, if they think it's a matter of national security and they're able to make the case for that, then obviously, as opposed to having people fly airplanes into buildings, you want that kind of security. And so Americans on this issue have been very divided. You may have heard many people say, well, I don't care if anyone listens to my conversations. Well, I do. I care about that. I think that everyone is entitled to the right to privacy, and I think that is one of the sacred things. Now, we willingly, and I count myself among that because I look at my credit cards, and you know that whether it's purchases or whether it's calls that you make or where you travel, where you buy things, and data that's all gathered. It's gathered and accumulated and then resold to people who then market that to try to see what your habits are so that they can then further market you. Now they would say that's market research. Well, it's an intrusion. And when the government intrudes, you want to make sure that your rights, including the right to privacy, are respected. So this is, and whether it was President Bush or whether it's President Obama, I believe that we have an obligation as elected members of Congress to make sure that we're affording our citizens the greatest protection of their privacy, understanding the full weight, and I said this before, that's why I think it's an unfair question about executives being impeached for making decisions as it relates to national security. But nonetheless, these are complex issues. The nation needs to have a deeper conversation on this. I think it will result in better protections.
May I ask a follow-up?
Sure.
Can we please allow for other